sprechen wir über die O-Line im Draft. Evan, the O-line, definitely a big need for the Patriots as well. How do you see them approaching that topic in the draft?
Yeah, it's a good draft at the top for offensive linemen. I'm sure we'll get to some of the names here in a second, but it does have a period where it starts to fall off a little bit. So I think prioritizing needs and order is going to matter here. All right, if you do take that quarterback at 3 overall, you do have to think about taking that lineman with 34, because I don't know if the guy at 68 is going to be able to play right away. And they're going to need somebody that's going to be able to step in early, I would say, in their NFL careers, especially at left tackle. It sounds like they want Big Mike to play right tackle, and that's great. But left tackle is going to be a spot that we don't really know who's playing it right now. So if you look at the order of operations of this draft, it's going to be very, very interesting how Elliott Wolf stacks the board of, if we take that quarterback at 3, when do we get the lineman, when do we get the receiver, and so on. And I think that there is a little bit of a drop-off here with the tackles, so you have to be careful.
I think one guy that could probably easily step in and play right away is a guy like Joe Alt.
Yes.
I know that offensive linemen are not as flashy and as fun to watch as quarterbacks, wide receivers, and everything.
For some of us nerds, we
But why don't you, or maybe explain to us real quick, why such a franchise tackle is such a big deal in today's NFL?
Well, I think it's twofold. One, typically when you have a player like Joe Alt, you draft a player like Joe Alt, he starts day 1 for your team, and you don't worry about the position for the next decade. Like, that's the type of player that offensive linemen can be, because their projections are a little bit easier than some of the other positions. It's very rare, and it happens, obviously, but it's very rare where you have a player of Joe Alt's pedigree just completely flame out in the league. So it does, conventional wisdom would say that it is a little bit of a safer pick to take. And the second thing is that we've saw it a little bit with Mac Jones. The quarterback's worst enemy is pressure. Any quarterback, whether he's Patrick Mahomes or he's Mac Jones, when he has pressure in his face, his numbers decline. It's just the nature of the business. So the best thing you can do for a young quarterback is to keep him upright and to keep him protected and give him a nice sturdy pocket, and there's nothing better than a blindside protector like Joe Alt.
With that being said, how would you feel if the Patriots did take a tackle at 3?
Well, I love Joe Alt, so I would be all right with it. I know a lot of people would riot, but I'm of the belief that, I'm old school. I think that you build from the inside out. I think you build the foundation first. And Joe Alt's one of those foundational type of players, and he makes your offensive line significantly better, not just because he's going to make left tackle better, but in general, the whole line is going to benefit from that. And he's someone that has an excellent lower half. His footwork and his technique and his pass sets and his run blocking is just tremendous. Flexibility, his ability to change directions and move and mirror guys on an island. He's an elite mover at the position, and you watch him play, and he's just so smooth, with everything that he does. Maybe not the people mover. He's not going to move guys off the line of scrimmage and really flash in that responsibility. But in terms of just positionally and staying inside out and all that kind of stuff, he's exceptional.
You said there's probably going to be a little bit of a drop-off between the best 1 or 2 guys to what's coming next.
Yeah.
So let's say the Patriots go quarterback, wide receiver, round 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Are you starting to get worried when it comes to round 3 and 4 tackles? Or
definitely for day 1 starting caliber tackles, yes. I mean, there's some guys that I like in that range. Blake Fisher from Notre Dame is the other Notre Dame tackle. Joe Alt played on the left side. He played right tackle. Roger Rosengarten also played right tackle at Washington, but they had a lefty quarterback, so he's a blindside guy at Washington. I think those guys are going to be NFL linemen. Fisher maybe more of that high upside lottery ticket. He's only 20 years old. He's got a lot of potential. Rosengarten maybe a little bit more seasoned and polished and ready to play now. But in terms of talking about those guys coming in and being that franchise pillar I just described with Alt, I wouldn't put that on them. I think that those guys are, serviceable players at this next level, but probably not game changers at that position. So I would be wary of that, but maybe, you take 2 of them in the middle rounds or something like that and double your money there, and maybe you go about it that way. It's not as impossible to do it. You're just not talking about, we're going to put this guy in week 1, day 1, and not worry about him.
A very interesting name for all of our fans in Germany is a guy called Brendan Coleman.
Yes.
Doesn't sound very German, but he was born in the US, grew up a big part of his life in Germany before moving back to the US. What do you know about him, and could he potentially be a fit for the Patriots?
Yeah, well, first of all, frogs. He's a frog, TCU. So I really think that he would be a fit in their traditional scouting system for offensive linemen. Now with Elliott Wolf, with Alex Van Pelt, we don't know what a Patriots offensive lineman necessarily is going to look like. We're going to find out. But he's somebody that has that, wide-bodied, wide base, girthy type of build, thick built, good run blocker already, team captain at TCU, Senior Bowl guy. Like, those are all the old Patriots boxes. And I gave you a comp off the air that I'll tell you now is Marcus Cannon, who was a TCU guy as well and had a lot of those same types of physical traits and ability, and a good leadership guy as well. So I think that he will probably be drafted on day 3, but he's got a chance to stick in the NFL. I think he's going to be around for a little while.
Plus, he could finally teach you some German. That would be perfect for everyone.
Well, you gotta get Seabass's take on the offensive lineman too. You gotta ask him what he thinks.
I will do that. But thanks, Evan, for stopping by. Thanks for your expertise. Vielen Dank euch fürs Zuschauen. Wir sehen uns demnächst wieder. Macht's gut.